Greetings and welcome to a new Minecraft video. This time I'll be trying to survive 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore mode. The original idea came from 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗦, so huge shout out to him. Minecraft Hardcore is a special game mode where mobs do more damage, hunger and poison are harder to deal with, and it's overall just the hardest Minecraft experience. So let's see if I can beat the challenge. Let's get right into it. Day 1 started off like every other person by creating a Minecraft world with the difficulty set to hardcore. I spawned right next to a small cave and had a quick look around the rest of my spawning area. Starting at the absolute basics, I began punching a tree with my bare hands, made a crafting table and a wooden pickaxe. After a few minutes I already got my first stone. What a progress. I found one of the local inhabitants and decided to show him who's the new boss in town. Also made a small sugarcane farm. The rest of the day I collected resources, greeted some locals and tried to become friends with the dog. In the early morning of day 2 I killed my first mob, one of the many to come. I also killed the local population for some food and 𝗙𝗏𝗢𝗓 my way back to my land. While pretending to be a fish, I thought of my goals for this 100 days. I figured out that I wanted to kill the Ender Dragon by day 100. Goal set, now we can work towards something. While breaking down my old shack, I got attacked by falling sand, a real enemy. I then cleared out some land to build my house on. It took half a day, but now I have a nice flat land to build my base of operations. At the end of day 2, construction for my house was almost finished. That night I slept under the stars. Day 3 started by finishing the roof of my house. I did some interior design and moved all of my stuff into the house. While exploring a bit, I found another small cave where I found iron and coal. I took it. It's mine now. The next day started by smelting some sand for windows. I also did some terraforming. The rest of the day I started working on a wall around my compound. Walls are essential in hardcore mode because they keep out the unwanted visitor. I placed torches on the walls to prevent mob spawning. I guess you can say that my walls are pretty lit right now. Oh, and I also made a little seating area next to my house to watch the sun. Day 5 started off by gathering some courage and mining iron in a cave full of zombies. Like a true warrior, I fought all of the mobs and got my reward in 5 iron ore. The rest of the day was about mining. Really, that's all I did besides watching the sunset when walking home. So on day number 6, I made the world's most useless infinite water source with a river and an ocean right next to me. It helped me a lot when making my first wheat farm. I now don't have to slaughter any more locals. I'm sure they will thank me. Day 7 I went to do some exploring and found a swamp. During my travels I found some distant relatives to the locals living on my land. Since they're not direct family, I decided to show my dominance to these foreigners as well. Looking back on it, it was more like a small scale genocide. Upon getting home, I got organized and thought it was a wonderful idea to fight mobs during the night. It wasn't. It was only because of my big brain movement that I managed to survive. I started off on day 8 by working on my walls, because we all know, more walls equals more safety. I put some carpet around my bed to wake up every morning with warm feet, and by nightfall I placed a campfire and spent my time singing songs. Day 9 I finally regained my confidence to go down the mine. But I got quickly scared by a running enderman and left the mine. What a disappointment. Oh well, maybe some sugarcane farming will get my mind off things. Since the construction of my little port I wanted to travel by boat and today was the day. I made my own personal yacht and started my journey. Ahoy scallywags, I'm the captain of the 7 seas now. After a while, I found land and immediately started befriending the locals in the only way I know, by sword and by axe. With the lava pool that was right next to the shore, I made my first nether portal like a true Minecraft speedrunner. I wanted to go to the new nether as soon as possible, so first thing I did next day was getting a flint and steel to ignite the portal. After killing all those local inhabitants, the past few days I went straight to hell. At the end of day 10 I did some terraforming and went to bed early. Day 11 I made my first iron sword. This one would certainly help when keeping the peace between me and the locals. The sword seemed to have magical powers as I instantly got back my confidence to go into the abandoned mineshaft I found earlier. I found a ton of iron and coal. With my new stacks, I finally made a full iron suit. Day 12 was a full day spent on finding leather to make a saddle. I then later found out that you can't craft one. When walking back though, I saw a forest burning down, but like a true hero I prevented it from happening and I even secured the future trees by throwing water over the lava pool. All of day 13 was me traveling back, but then I found a sunken ship right next to the shore. It had some pretty decent loot, but most notable, A hidden treasure map. I came back home on day 14 and decided to place a second bed in my home because of, you know, possible woman company. Wink wink. I wanted to go and loot the treasure I found the day before, which took me quite some time. I shoveled literal stacks of sand. On the morning of day 15 I still didn't find the treasure. I was starting to believe the treasure map was glitched, but then, when all hope was lost, the chest came to me. Grateful for the free loot, I did nothing but watching the sunset. Day 16 wasn't much to write home about. I farmed, did some terraforming, and found out that my nether portal was right next to one of the new nether biomes, which was great. On day 17, when returning to my base, I made a third bed, because of, you know, some more possible woman company. Wink wink. Also, you got to know that really no day goes by without me doing some work on the farm. At the end of the day, I made a pair of Golden Supreme sneakers to show off to my neighbors. I decided to flex my new sneakers on day 18, so I went to the nether. I tried to chop down a tree, but got attacked by what is without a doubt a Greenpeace fanatic. After I finally managed to escape his wrath, I stole some gold from the piglins and figured out I would give it back to them. By that, I mean trading it for some goods, of course. Let's show him I'm all about the profit. Day 19 started early for me, so I went mining. Underground I gathered a lot of resources. When I returned to the surface, I once again went to look after my crops. They are fragile and need my love every day. I woke up day 20 feeling really productive. In that spirit, I made a mining shack. This mine was going to be my diamond mine and it needed protection from mobs during the nights. That day I also flattened out my land and expanded my walls and farm. With my brilliant mind, I thought it was a good idea to fight some mobs at dark, which turned out to be a whole apocalypse, so I quickly ran home to the safety of my white sheets. First thing I did in the morning to prevent situations like the last night was making a clock. Now I can always see what time it is. Then I went back to the nether to trade some gold with the piglins. I got a potion of fire resistance out of them. What a deal! Back home I mined down to level 11. I dug out a small room for me to place a crafting table and a few chests, so that when I'm mining I can store stuff there. This continued well into day 22. After finishing the room I went strip mining. I found some iron, and redstone and even some gold, but still no diamonds. Day 23 it was raining, so I stayed inside all day. Just kidding, I went and expanded my walls, farmed for a bit and violated a bunch of Greenpeace rules. And at the end of the day I was probably declared an enemy of the whole organization. Bad luck for them, because I'm about to be the richest player in this whole Minecraft world. Back to the nether on day 24. I wanted to trade my gold for some late game items. I got some obsidian, spectral arrows and a bunch of fire charges, but no ender pearls. I did some farming to ease the disappointment. After that, I started working on a small bridge to connect my land with the diamond mine. Day 25 I finished the bridge. It looked quite good, considering my building skills. I bet you don't want to see me farming again, so let's skip that part for today. The rest of the day I did some terraforming and placed storages all over my land. No mobs can spawn here now. After that I went straight to bed. Tomorrow would be another busy day. I started working on a storage room on day 26. Little did I know that it would take the whole day just to get a bit of the walls done. Construction on the storage continued on day 27 after getting some resources from a nearby dark oak forest. By the end of the day, I finally finished the walls and the front of the storage. Day 28 started off horrible, when I realized that I miscalculated the walls by 1 block. Damn you, brain! I corrected my mistake and after some trial and error, I successfully made a floor that suited my style. I looked down on it while being proud of myself. And then, on day number 29, I finally finished my storage. I built a roof with some red glass to look at the stars sometimes. The rest of the day I did some organizing by moving all of my stuff into the new storage room. Day 30 I started by getting my sugarcane. They really are starting to become a great investment already. I didn't forget about my precious wheat farm though. Those lovely crops also got the attention they deserve. Back to terraforming the rest of the day. Oh, and in the evening I tried to befriend the dog by giving him my bone. He didn't want it. What a greedy bastard. After multiple attempts though, he finally gave in and I escorted him to my seating area to sit there and watch the stars. On day 31 I made a path from my house to the farm and also expanded my land so that I'd have room for a farm upgrade in the future. After that I went into the mine. That's when it happened. Hidden beneath a few iron ores, there were some diamonds. I jumped around in joy. I even found some more a bit later. The diamond mine turned out to be gold. Day 32 I was still underground waiting for my ores in the furnace. When I went mining in a random direction again, I found diamonds again. I thought that my luck had run out after this much diamonds in just 2 days, but I kept finding nice ores in the mine. After I was finally satisfied, I made a staircase to the top of the mine for easy access. Got to stay humble though, so upon arriving on the surface, I went straight to farming. Day 33, I started expanding my land with dirt. And of course, I placed walls around the area. What do you think I am? A badass? On my new land, I made a small pumpkin and mellow farm that will help me when I find a village for trading. Next I did some terraforming and saw that my sugarcane farm was full grown and ready to harvest. I also made my first diamond pickaxe. Day 34 started off by making my mining shack a bit more beautiful. After all of the boring stuff, I went to make some profits of the gold I got and traded it with some piglings. I got a potion of fire resistance, so at least I'll be protected against you guys roasting me in the comments. I also got my first ender pearls. I made an enchantment table on day 35. Also made a new friend. I decided to do some exploring, so I went into the direction of my nether portal. And after a while, I found a desert temple. It had some okay loot in it. When wandering around in the area, I found some animals. You guys know me as a true animal lover, and I decided to show my love again this time. But my luck didn't run out yet, apparently, because I found another desert temple and a village. Hooray! I looted the temple and I took a quick look around the town. All I saw was potential profit. When returning, I made a stupid decision to travel back home in the night, right through the desert. I escaped many mobs and finally made my way back home. Day 36, I got organized from the last trip, got a third dog, expanded my farm and violated some Greenpeace rules again. I made some bookshelves for the enchanting table and did a bit of nether exploring. There, I got attacked by another fanatic. I didn't kill him, I just had a civilized talk with him. All I did on day 37 was some farming and obsidian mining. I then spent the evening watching the sunset together with my lovely dogs. Day 38, I returned to the village I found earlier and placed a nether portal there. I was trying to make a nether highway of some sort. It took a whole day, but I got my first 2 portals connected by a tunnel through the nether. And I'm proud of it. Day 39 started with placing cobblestone along the nether highway, so that mobs can't spawn there. The rest of the day I spent in the village building a wall around my new property. Day 40, I still didn't finish the wall around my village. It's quite big, if I say so myself. With the beds occupied though, I couldn't sleep at night, so I stayed awake rethinking my sins. I finished the work on my walls day 41. After hearing a lot of spiders in the night before, I decided to take a look beneath the village and light it up there. Turns out, there was a spider farm that I quickly ran away from. Ah, home sweet home. But no time to waste. I went straight to terraforming up until next morning sunrise. Day 42, I had made my whole island flat, which got me a ton of dirt. I did some farming and shoveled a path to the new flattened area of the island. Satisfied with my new piece of land, I watched the sunset from my dogs. Oh, what a life. Day 43 was a great day. I made friends with 3 dogs on another island and spent the whole day trying to get them to my home. I did it! Look at them! When traveling back to the village on day 44, I found a villager who got lost in the nether. I just let him live there. Maybe he likes the climate. The rest of the day was spent making small houses for the villagers to put them in for trading purposes. I spent the whole time of day 45 trying to get villagers into their new homes. I managed to get 2 of them into their glorified prisons and turned them into a cleric and a farmer. This is where the profit begins. When I returned home, I did some mining for iron and placed more light around my island. I wasted half of day 46 trying to make an automatic farm. It didn't work. Only at the end of the day I finally found a way to get my farm on multiple levels. But why didn't you look for a tutorial, I hear you asking? Well, that's because I don't need that. I'm a Minecraft professional. So at the start of day 47 I watched some tutorials on how to make an automatic farm. It didn't help me much, so I tried to do the redstone by myself. It worked out in the end and I was proud of myself. Look at me, all of this without any help. Day 48 started off with some manual farming. How old fashioned. I also did a little exploring where I found a coral reef but not much else. That night I slept in a dark oak forest after watching the sun go down behind a giant mushroom. When walking home on day 49 I found another village. I was so happy. I wrote down the coordinates and traveled home. And would you look at that? Home just in time for the sunset. How convenient. Day 50 was a special day. Because I was halfway the 100-day challenge, I figured out I wanted to celebrate by making a cake worthy of 50 days. So that's what I did. All day. Making a cake. Also finished the day by watching the sunset with my pets. Day 51, I began by doing some farming. Then I went mining and behold, some more diamonds. At the end of my mining session I had 9 diamonds and some other ingots. All in all, I felt rich already. Day 52, the construction on a house for the enchantment room began. I tried making the style the same as the storage, and by the end of the day the foundations were done. I finished the house for the enchantment room on day 53. I went back to the usual by doing some farming and organizing my stuff in the storage room. Day 54 I made some minor adjustments to the roof of my room of enchantment. It turned out pretty nice. I wanted to return to my village but got delayed on my way there because I saw a cat who was truly on fire. That day I also finally managed to get a 3rd villager into his new prison. He will stay there. Forever. I traveled home and got some leather along the way. I now had enough resources to make 6 bookshelves. At night, I fought 1,000 enemies. I'm sure the poets will write of my heroic deeds. On day 55, I found a dude who wanted to outflex me with his full golden suit. We quickly settled who was more hypebeast. I also wanted to make a cow farm because I needed a lot of leather for books and bookshelves to enchant at level 30. And while doing some exploring, I found a wonderful example of what great game Minecraft is. After a lot of running, I finally found a few cows. I only needed 2 though, so I silenced the rest of them. It was a true pain in the ass to get the 2 cows to my main compound, but I managed to do it before sunset. The cows had to live somewhere, so on day 56 I made a spot for them right next to the water. I got both of them into their new homes, and as a housewarming party I allowed them to breed. And there we go! Our first child! I didn't feel really productive the rest of the day, so I decided to head back to a place I saw earlier when looking for cows. I found some kind of pillar in the water and looted it. One of the things I looted was another buried treasure map. Seeing as what happened last time I tried to find the treasure, I woke up early on day 57 to get that chest. Luckily, it was close by and managed to loot the chest without any problems. It had great loot. The second part of the day I spent looking for 2 sheep to also start a sheep farm. I built a home for the sheep and got them in there. While I was watching the sunset, I was witness of the creation of another child. Day 58, the crops in my automatic farm had finally grown and were ready to be harvested. So I flipped the lever, all 7 of them, and watched how my epic redstone contraption turned out to be a success. Also, I almost finished the full enchantment room. I only needed a few more bookshelves. I bred the animals and decided to go to the village and try to get a villager to sell me mending books. It didn't work out. The villager who voluntarily went into his prison tried to escape. The escaped villager was still wandering somewhere on day 59, and it was a typical day for someone who has never dealt with villagers in Minecraft before. It's better I don't say anything, I'll just show you what happened. At the end of the day, I did get my mending villager locked up in his prison to stay there for eternity. Oh, look at that! Day 60 and the crops are looking delightful. After some farming, I got a few more children in my base thanks to the cows and sheep. I put all the spare used sugarcane I had to good use by making paper out of it. This was the start of great profits in the village. When traveling to my village though, I found out an iron golem had fought some nether inhabitants. Thank you for your protection, officer. With my paper I managed to get my first 9 emeralds. The first of many more to come. I borrowed all of the hay bales from the village and sold the wheat to the village farmer. I made some fat stacks, but I felt bad knowing the villagers had almost no air to breathe, so I decided to make a more human-friendly trading place. The design turned out okay. Can't say it's perfect, but it's better than what they have right now. On day 61 I continued work on the new trading places and made 3 of them in total. Look at that. No more violating of human rights. I chose a different path. I went back to home when I saw our police officer doing a dance. Shouldn't he be working? My disappointment in the police force got cooled by some farming and animal breeding. It always seems to get my mind off difficult matters. Day 62 I figured out that in order to get the maximum profit in the village I needed to have farms for the sellable resources right next to me. So that's what I did. I made a sugarcane farm, and after that I managed to trap my first villager into his new trading place. Day 63 was all about getting the village into the profit setting. I got all 3 trading places filled with villagers. I then made a wheat farm right next to the sugarcane one. I even made some profit already at the end of the day. On day 64 I accidentally set a war in motion when entering the nether. The local police officer killed a few pig soldiers, and right when I thought he had won the war, the reinforcement arrived. But the officer proved to be a tough force and won the battle. I repaired him with my iron. He deserved that. He fought well. Back home, I let my animals procreate. I also made some improvements to my land's infrastructure. At night, I went mining. I found some chests in the mine shaft and got some resources. Still in the mine on day 65. I found another mob spawner and was mainly trying to find my way back to the surface. When I got home, I got organized and went back to animal breeding. Really no day goes by without it. Same goes for farming and watching the sunset, which I both did that day. Day 66 started with a mass breakout of the cows, but I managed to get them back in their home without bloodshed. I then went on to do some farming. Because I have a solid food supply, I can put the rest of the farm to use by selling it to the villagers, which gives me a lot of emeralds to use later and levels up the villagers for better trades. It's a win-win. At the village, the sugarcane had started to grow as well, and after harvesting it, it made some nice profit. By nightfall, I went out to look for a nice horse as my personal ride for when I wanted to travel. I found a full black horse, gave him armor, a saddle, and a name, Junior. My main goal for day 67 was to get Junior to my main compound. It turned out to be harder than I thought because the nether highway was not ready for a horse yet. So I got back to the village and spent all day trying to get one of the librarian villagers to do some nice trades. At the end, I settled for power 4. When trying to go to sleep, I saw a villager having problems finding a bed. I'm a good landlord, so I helped him out. His way of thanking me wasn't really appropriate for YouTube though. On day 68 I made some profit by selling my pumpkins and bought 2 bookshelves as well. I turned one of the new villagers into a cartographer, but didn't have any paper left to sell, so I went to the nether to work on making my nether highway horse-proof. My pickaxe broke though, and I had to finish that another time. I visited my main compound and watched how the animals had reproduced. I now have a lot of them. Something about day 69 made me build a nice relic right next to my 50-day cake. Still didn't figure out what the reason was. I attempted to make an egg farm, but out of my 8 eggs, not one of them hatched a chicken. To end the day on a positive note though, my automatic farm, despite not being fully automatic, worked really good. On day 70, I read on Google that cartographers buy glass panes. And luckily for me, this village is right next to a big desert, which means glass and profit for days. After a whole day of profits I now had a whopping 8 blocks and 3 emeralds. I celebrated by imitating Thanos as I killed half of my cow population. With all the new XP, I decided to make my first diamond tools. So I made a sword, pickaxe and an axe and even enchanted all of them level 30. I then watched the sun set on a grateful universe. I was AFK for most of day 71, but I managed to still have time for some farming as I know that you like to see that. I also made some profit and got 2 mending books in the village. First thing I did on day 72 was putting mending on my pickaxe and axe. Now I can turn XP into durability. With that in mind, I planned on making a mob spawner in my main compound, and so for the rest of the day all I did was nothing but collecting resources in the mine. Day 73 I started construction on the mob spawner. It took a lot of time and sadly I wasn't finished in one day. When sunset came, I did a sick 𝗚𝗔𝗢𝗍𝗧𝗔 360 Pro jump off the tower like a true badass without fear of death. On day 74 I did not continue work on the spawner, but instead I went to the mine to get some obsidian for a new portal. I was tired of needing to go by boat to my first portal every time I needed to go to the nether. It took a long time and some navigation skills, but I managed to connect all 3 portals by tunnels, and now I was able to travel easily from my main compound to the village. With my new fast pickaxe I also made the tunnels bigger so that I could take Junior back with me to the main base. At the start of day 75 I was once again amazed by my automatic farm. It was so efficient. In the village I made a double super furnace to give me the glass I need to make money off the locals. While I was working, a wandering trader appeared in the village. He didn't sell anything good, so it's only fair that I killed his company. The new furnace worked really good by the way. It got me glass in no time so I could go on selling and making profit. I woke up early on day 76 to make some nice profit, and when I returned home I wanted to continue working on my mob spawner project to repair my tools. I got part of it done, but it was about to go dark already, so I 360'd my way down the tower and went to bed. By day 77 I had run out of cobblestone, and since I didn't feel like going into the mine, I finished the mob spawner with netherrack. The work continued well into day 78 because I wanted to make a second layer on the mob spawner as well. When trying to get up the tower though, I fell down to the ground. Honestly, I wasn't even worried. My massive brain calculated everything down to the last health point. And I survived. At the morning of day 79, after days of hard work, I finally finished the mob spawner and got down safely. I realized I didn't do any farming the past days, so I had to catch up on that department. Come nightfall, I placed a wall around the spawner to be safe when standing there at night. But as usual, I didn't have all the resources, so I let it half finished for now. I planned on doing absolutely nothing on day 80, but I got bored pretty quickly and went to do some trading at the village. Great decision, because I made some fat stacks again. I went back to the nether, got some trees, weird red leaves and tested the limits of my pickaxe speed. I also got some trades with piglins. I got more ender pearls which would come in handy when trying to find the end portal. To do the villagers a favor though, I slept under the stars right on the trading square. Day 81 was for profits. I also found out that on Halloween some mobs spawn with carved pumpkins on their head. But it took me some time to figure that out. I thought it was a texture bug or so. At the end of the day I made so much profit that I now had a total of 14 blocks of emerald. I then stood AFK the whole night right next to the mob spawner. Day 82 I cashed in on the XP by killing all the generated mobs from last night. It almost fully repaired my diamond pickaxe. Also, one of the mobs dropped a music disc. I didn't even know that was possible. But oh well. The more you know, right? After the failure of my egg farm, I wanted to make amends by making an automatic wool farm. Of course the idea already comes paired with the mass outbreak by the sheep. Unlike last time, I had to be a cruel landlord and slaughter the escaping sheep. The idea of the wool farm was that a sheep would eat the grass, an observer would pick up the block update and send a redstone signal to a dispenser that would cut the sheep's wool, which will then drop in the hopper minecart and into the barrel. Somehow I couldn't get it to work. After quite some thinking, I finally figured out that I forgot to put the shear into the dispenser. After that it worked. At last. Back in the village on day 83 and all I did was making profit. I feel like the most capitalistic person on earth right now. Jesus, what a hard word. I returned to the nether at the end of the day and saw our trusty officer being attacked by outlaws. Sadly, he died at the end. I placed a little memorial right next to the portal. F in the chat, boys. Since no one in the village was getting water anyway, I decided to break down the well on day 84 for some resources I badly needed. When I came back home, I looked at the profit of the past days. I now had a little more than 22 blocks of emerald. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Celebration included the genocide of cows. I tried enchanting books that day as well, but failed miserably. And as if that wasn't bad enough, I then went on and spent 30 XP levels enchanting a bow with punch 1. I really could punch myself after that. I still wanted a nice bow for the fight with the ender dragon though, so I waited all night at the mob spawner to get level 30. The waiting paid off on day 85 because I got level 30 again, and enchanted my bow this time with power 3, flame and unbreaking 3. I called it Bowie Knife. As I was already preparing for the ender dragon fight, I went on and made a full diamond armor set. In the pouring rain I did some farming and made some profit. I also wanted some heat that day, so I did some exploring in the nether when I got a jump scare by a ghast. I started playing volleyball with him, but he decided to quit and disappear. What a loser. On day 86 I got back to the nether and there I found him. That loser from last day. I decided to fight him and after some back and forth shots I won the battle. You can see my happiness. To get to the end I needed Eyes of Ender, but I didn't find the fortress yet, so all of day 86 I spent searching for it. And after what felt like hours, I finally found the fortress, killed some blazes and started traveling back. Still traveling back on day 87. When I got home, I instantly grabbed my ender pearls and combined them with blaze powder, and there we have it. 10 Eyes of Ender. In theory, that could be enough to find the portal and activate it. But first, I had to prepare for that. So I went back to the village and tried to make a villager into a fletcher who would sell me arrows. It didn't work out well, but he bought all of my sticks and I still made some profit. I figured out on day 88 that making the arrows myself would be easier, so I grabbed my Fortune 2 diamond shovel and got 36 flint. Also thanks to some farming and glass, I made 8 more emerald blocks of profit. At night, I went back to my main compound trying to repair my tools with XP. Believe it or not, I just now, on day 88, made my first shield. Also, I killed some random llamas. Sorry not sorry. I then got besieged by a lot of mobs, so I had to sleep outside. On day 89 I found a wandering trader that held the llamas captive. Who would do such a thing? So I killed him. One less person in the world to treat animals unfair. The rest of the day I made profit, profit and more profit. Upon returning to my nether highway though, I found another fallen officer. It ended as a sad day. Day 90 I worked on enchanting my diamond armor and it turned out pretty great. These enchantments will make it a lot easier for me to defeat the big boss, the Ender Dragon. After that, I took my Eyes of Ender and went on a journey to find the end portal. I'm still traveling on the morning of day 91, but after losing 4 of my Eyes of Ender, I finally found it. So, I made a small shack to mark the spot. I worked my way down and indeed found the end portal. I secured the room and made a long ladder all the way up to the shack where I also went to sleep. Day 92 on my way back home, I found a villager town in a forest. I wrote down the coordinates and looted the place. I continued my travel home and did nothing but getting XP for my tools the rest of the day and night. Because I did not sleep at night, I was able to watch the sunrise for once. I wasn't disappointed. I then spent half a day trying to find someone in the nether who wanted to trade 37 gold with me. I needed ender pearls to activate the end portal. Oh well, back to profit it is. After I made some stacks and regained some confidence, I went back to the nether. I was too late with starting the recording, but I saw a group of outlaws straight up murder another officer. This is declared dangerous ground from now on. I found a piglin who wanted to trade with me. I gave him 37 gold, but he didn't drop me any ender pearls. What a douchebag. While risking my life, I finally got the last 4 ender pearls by killing endermen. All I did day 94 was making profit. Yep, I was not in the mood to do anything else but ripping off these villagers. Day 95 I was able to buy glass blocks from one librarian. With this trade I could sell even more glass panes to my cartographers, which is obviously what I did. I returned to my main compound and continued on my preparation for day 100 and the fight of the Ender Dragon. I also found 3 eggs somewhere in a junk chest and decided to shoot one more shot at getting an egg farm. Out of the 3, 2 became chickens. I couldn't be more excited. I celebrated by doing some farming and eating a cooked chicken. Day 96 I decided that I wanted a better sword to fight a dragon. So I went into the mine, found some diamonds, made an extra sword and now only needed to enchant it. So I was working all night to get to level 30 again by mining and trading. If I could combine my current sharpness 3 sword with another one of that kind, I'd have a super powerful sharpness 4 sword. Only by the end of day 97, after lots of work, I got to level 30. Filled with joy about getting a better sword next day, I went to bed. Day 98 I looked at all the stacks I made to get my XP the past few days. I made 13 new blocks of emerald. Alright. After that I went to the room of enchantment to get my new overpowered sword. I enchanted the new sword and it got, drumroll, Bane of Arthropods. I wasn't overly happy with that, so I made one more sword, but that meant I had to get to level 30 once more. I managed to do that the same night by fighting a lot of mobs. I went straight to the enchantment room and got some pretty decent enchantments on the 3rd sword. But that's when everything fell apart. In my enthusiasm I wanted to combine all the swords, because the more enchantments, the better, I thought. I was wrong. I made a sword without any enchantments that would help me against the Ender Dragon. Call me Mr. Disappointed. I named the sword Wasted Days to remind me of my failure. Day 99 could very well be the last day on this world. It was the day I would travel to the portal to fight the Ender Dragon on day 100. I collected all the preparations, said goodbye to my dogs, goodbye to Junior, goodbye to my cows, and goodbye to my sheep. I love you all. Except for this one. He looked weird at me. After saying goodbye, it was time to depart. Farewell everyone. I managed to make it to my end shack before the night and even got some time to make it a bit prettier. But I went to bed early because I got an important day ahead of me. Rise and shine, because it's day 100. Time to fight the Ender Dragon. I did a last check if I had the right gear with me, activated the portal and went in. Alright, cue the epic music. I first destroyed the towers. This way the Ender Dragon couldn't regenerate his health. I must say, I did this in a special way by using water to get to the top and jumping down easily. Then I shot some arrows at the dragon to get him back to the portal so I could hit him. After doing that multiple times, I hit him one last time and I defeated the Ender Dragon! I went from level 3 all the way to level 67 and also got the Ender Dragon egg. I officially survived 100 days in Minecraft hardcore mode and beaten the Ender Dragon as well. So that wraps it up for my 100 days hardcore challenge. Since you guys really seem to enjoy these kinds of videos, I figured out that I should make more. So, if you want me to go to 200 days and make a video about that, leave a like, comment down below and don't forget to subscribe because that helps me out a ton. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.